All right. Good midday to you, everybody. We are back here for Peep Connection, my favorite name to say. I keep thinking it's a little marshmallow Easter candy, but no, that's not the Peeps we're talking about. And we are here with Brenda Peterson, who is the focus of this wonderful show that we're doing here, episode 2, for those of you keeping score at home. And so nice to have you back again, Brenda. Lovely to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh well, we're the lucky ones here. And how was your week between? Did you have a lot of clients and a lot going on with
my
your
weeks
world?
have been great.
Excellent.
Absolutely great since the book. So it's been I can keep up with it. So
Cool.
that's wonderful.
Excellent. Cool. We had briefly touched on last week. And I mentioned my father sadly had passed away in June, mid to late June. I remember the date actually. It's one of those blur type of things. And we did have a little moment here on the show discussing that. And I did tell you the story, but I would like to share it with your viewers and listeners that you had mentioned that the Peeps, as we'll call them, can get a little jokestery at times. And
Always.
knowing my dad the way I knew him, he was quite the jokester. And any opportunity to one thing, I don't know if I told you this, he used to go into like J.C. Penney's and he loved to go to the mannequins and turn their wigs upside down, twist them backwards, which is totally embarrassing. He got caught frequently and tried to explain it away, saying, "Oh, I was just trying to help." But anyway, I went home and told my kids that that there was a slight connection here after the show, and as I was telling them the story, my microwave went on. Now, this is not normal because it's a perfectly fine microwave. Never had this problem before, but as I was in the middle of relaying the story of my dad, apparently reaching out in his own interesting way here in our radio room, the microwave fired up. And in fact, I even had I looked across at my kid and said, "That sounds a lot like the microwave." And she said, "Why would it be on?" And I said, well, "Let me double check." And I'm trying to explain it away, of course, saying my cat's somehow, but there is absolutely no way it would require a cat to even know which button to turn on, which setting to. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's
okay.
crazy.
Most people say weird, as I told you when I walked in, because you emailed me and said I have a story to tell you. I'm like, 100% you're going to say this is weird. This is weird. I'm like, no, you're talking to me because I talk to dead people. That's not weird.
Right.
So another example of signs. After we got off air last week, then we had a little bit of conversation about your dad, and you knew that was him, that he's coming in, and that they can reach out anyway electronically because they're energy, right? And electronics is energy. So we've talked about the lights on and off, a lot of people, and for a microwave to go on, I'm like, okay, not weird for me. Anyway, they're going to get attention, especially because now he had his grandkids in the room too to talk to him, and that they know now that grandpa comes and visits. So what a better way to do that? And I think that's awesome.
It's wild. It's just wild. It's so new to me.
I was telling, and especially because you said, I think you told everyone at the beginning of the show that you're a little bit of a skeptic. So not only
I'm trying,
does dad
you're making it very difficult for me.
Not only does dad come in during the radio show, and then we had a little moment after the show, we had a little bit more information from his dad of how he was coming through and how he's going to nudge you. Then went home and told the kids, and the kids got the message too. So he's very vocal and he's very good at it, manipulating energy. So I would expect you to see that often.
Just amazing.
But that's just one way, one sign that they come through, because the peeps always come through and always want you to know they're with you.
Wow. It's amazing. It's truly remarkable. We have in our chat room today, I see Lisa and I see Cindy, who I guess we can call you regulars now because I remember you guys from last week. So that's great.
Yeah.
If anybody has anything that they would like to present to Brenda to address, we can certainly open the floor up at any time. Just key it into whatever platform you're looking at. If you're looking at us on YouTube, that works well. If you're on Facebook, on Brenda's page, or on any of the CPL Radio or Cedarburg Library pages, just feel free to type them in and I will relay them to Brenda as quickly as I can. So have at it. We're here till 12:30, so that'll work well.
We also had the situation, or when we did Facebook Lives before for 3 years, we were just having people call in or just write in saying, "Hey, let the peeps answer the question. They know what's best for me." As I always say before I start a real reading,
Sure.
not the mini readings like this, is that we let the peeps say it first because they know more than we do.
Absolutely.
And they come through with what exactly you need at the moment. So we do that too. But questions are fine too, however you want to talk to them.
Sure, without a doubt. We talked a little bit last week about I guess your background and your history with this. When do you see where do you see this going for you in like the coming days and weeks to come, like and years to come? Like, is this something that you build on, or is this something even as I don't know if I can call this a skill? I guess it's a skill, or
I'd say gift.
a gift, sure.
Yeah.
So does your gift strengthen as time goes on? Do you find shortcuts for that sort of thing? I mean, these are all the fascinating questions I have.
So I think that we're all born with gifts. In fact, when I do like vision board, I have a vision board class, and we ask people what their gifts are, what they know they've received and were good at first beginning, and then what you do to develop your skill. So for me, I'm a reader. So I read everything I could in 1980, 1970, 1980, 1990, all of it. I read it constantly. But those folks that were thought leaders at the time really helped me develop my philosophy about this. And then I went to Reiki class, and I've gone to groups where like-minded people were trying to work on their skills. And I think every single time I have a reading, that client teaches me something. So I sometimes finish, and when they leave, I'm like, I didn't know I could do that. But the skill is there for as people come. So whatever we need, there's a thing called psychic surgery with Reiki masters. And I did that, and I didn't know I could do that either. And knew that was needed at that time. So I basically get the messages. I have to interpret them so I can serve the client in energy fixing, or the messages that from their peeps. All of those are combined for me. It's never been one or the other. It's usually combined. I'll get a message from your loved ones, your peeps, and I'll also feel what you feel, so that we can work on or give you ideas to help fix that. So then you can move on the next step. So mine's always been the next step for me. And for my next step, I don't know what my next step is. It feels like I'm doing the right. It feels like I'm doing the right thing, because it's exactly how I thought it would be, exactly the days I thought it would be, how new clients are coming to me with questions, and a lot of folks that are coming that already know they have intuition. And so one of the first things, am I weird? Like, yes, you are weird. Yay for weirdos.
I don't even ask anymore. I'm just it's kind of a given when I walk in the room.
Right. We're just hey, and what's weird? I mean, whoever want to be normal? That's what I always ask. Because God, how boring would that be?
I would think.
So the people that come, the new people that are coming, they already have their intuition. They already have their questions. They've already known and know they've had a contact with their peeps, know that they have empath abilities, know that they have sight, know that they can see in their dreams. So they want to take that next step too. By the way, I'll do a little thing here, because I'm doing a class. Classes on second Saturdays of the month at my home, where I do my readings, and we're getting together and having like a lunch and get together with folks that really want to develop theirs as well. And then with that lunch and learn is going to be a topic of how to use that skill set to see if that works for you, tapping into your peeps.
Nice.
Because there's all different ways to do it. And it's like, really, unless you try it, you're not going to know what's the best way for you. So that's what it is. And also to get with a bunch of people of like mind, of like, hey, we want to develop this skill together. And it's like, where do you talk about this besides on the radio on Tuesday, every Tuesday at 12 o'clock?
Sure. Yes. Hello.
Hello. Or, just how and I think that's important as we get together, folks, because we can talk about it. Hey, have you experienced this weird thing? Yes, we have, and then you get validation as well. So I think that's important.
I have a message from Cindy, who just very simply says, "Peeps, please."
Well, since you were on Cindy Paulus?
Yeah.
Okay. Since last time I went out a little bit, I don't know if you heard the whole thing, but what it was like your mom who came through last week she was saying that you're being too much of a mother hen. As I was moving my arms like a mother hen of gathering all the chicks that you have, it was basically that you need to take care of yourself. So if you're we also always talked about like anxiety for folks around you, that they were in trouble, but that's not what I got last week. I got you, that we need to take care of you. But it feels like you're better than last week. It feels like, and my phone's ringing. Hi. Um, oh wait, maybe it's a Peep. Could be.
Do they have cellular coverage?
Hey, it's energy, right? That's
right,
energy
right,
too.
Absolutely.
So it still feels like it's still good, but I really, really want you to take the steps to help yourself. So for you to go through a Reiki sweep, and I think I did mention last week, and I'm not sure if you heard it in my YouTube channel. Sorry, Intuitive Brand is that free Reiki sweep. So just try doing that for a week. See how you feel. Especially want to have you to concentrate on the solar plexus, which is like anxiety, so that we're not worried about things. When I look up, I'm trying to hear more of those. So looks like it's not going to be a real smooth road for a little while. You got like, it feels like 3 months of shit. 3 months, sorry, 3 months of not being a smooth road.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what it feels like. But it feels like by the end of fall into winter, it's going to be better. So whatever's going right now, it feels like now. So even though I say your energy feels better, it's like there's still stuff going on. But
Cindy wrote anxiety, depression, awful. I guess she's having some struggles right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So really try that for a week. Try that every day. Get up with your coffee if you can. I know you're really super busy, but just have like a time of day that you sit down and do that. If you don't, it's on that Intuitive Brand site on YouTube. You can, it's free. So don't worry about that. If you need me to give me a call and we can do another session or something and go through it together. But that sweep is basically what I do with people when I have the sessions as well. So try that. And that's a free way to do it. And then call back next week and see how it's going. And we'll decide if we need to have a session or not.
Sure. And Frank is here and says hello to Brenda and all the peeps.
Hey, Ann, how you doing?
There we go. Lisa says, if I only lived closer to you, I would love the Saturday class. So Lisa clearly has to move.
Yeah. No, she just moved there. Yeah. I'm trying to think how to do that online too. We're going to figure that out after we do this Saturday things, because there's a lot of people that are not close. Yeah. The two of you, Cindy and Lisa, would do a class by yourself. So yeah, that would, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, there's actually needed. Technically, I mean, it's probably not too tough to package up what you do on a Saturday on, a system like we have here, like StreamYard. I mean, it's probably a couple cameras, maybe a little audio thing. We can make it happen. You let me know. Cindy sent you a pretty happy smiley face. So I think good. I think we're heading in the right direction.
Oh, good.
So, absolutely. So let me ask you this, Brenda, as we wait for any other comments. Actually, Cindy says Zoom. I'm in Texas, so
right.
Well, I'll talk to Brenda. I'll see if I can convince her to turn her living room into a TV studio. Let me ask you this: do you ever get negativity that comes across, like I want to say not. I mean, anger, or is it usually relatively positive things?
If when the peeps, no, it's not at all. It's basically if you were dealing with anger, you're mad at something. But I don't get, people always worried about like if you open the door to spirits, it's going to be a negative experience, or
we've seen too many
demons.
movies. A lot of movies.
Yeah, we've movies, and I don't do any Hollywood, no Hollywood. I've never seen that. And actually, I was at a reading, and one gal said, "Well, you said you only do Hollywood." I'm like, "Damn straight, Skippy. I'm not doing the scary stuff." I said, my house and my life has to be safe. Yeah. Because I have a lot of people that are opening themselves up to spirituality, that they have to have a safe place too. So my home is where I'm doing readings now. And I go between studio or not. I'm like, I clear my space all the time. So it's really, really safe for people. So I haven't had anything like that, and I wouldn't appreciate it either. Yeah. We did have a intuitive development class at my home one night, and there was someone who walked through that I did not know the energy, and I screamed. I screamed. I was like, "Get out of here right now!" I did not know who it was, and I didn't feel his energy came into the room. That was not that it was bad. It was just not safe or screened, I think.
Yeah.
Feels like. So I just like get out right now. And one of the gals that was new to intuitive stuff, she's like, what do you do? I'm like, it's okay.
Huh.
When I do clearings, when I go to a home,
Sure.
a business office, I've done factories. When I
Really?
go in, yeah, well, just if they have a change of leadership, change of people, if they've had someone move out that was super negative, they want to clear that space or clear the all over space. I've done that as well. And then home, I clear your yard and space as well.
Wow.
So I felt like, I guess pockets of negative energy or stagnant energy is what
Okay.
I say. It's
Okay.
not negative. It's just like, to me, all energy is like a positive or a negative, but it's moving energy or stagnant energy. So stagnant energy is what people would normally consider. They walk someplace, they feel something odd. I'm like, yeah, just stay away from that energy. It's pretty much stagnant or not evil, but just like not good for you.
Yeah.
When you lean in, you can feel that.
Interesting.
So I've had a bunch of things like that, but basically the spaces were emotional attachment to that space. For one, I went to a house. They were selling their house and they wanted to clear the energy. So when people walked in, they would have to have this clear space that could be theirs. They'd already moved out. So I went and cleared the space. And one area is where they had a memorial for their nephew who had passed in the Vietnam War. And they had a table and all of the things. And so whenever they went past it, they kept saying, oh, he could have done this in his life. Oh, he could have, he's missing this in his life. He didn't get to grow old and do this in his life, instead of celebrating the time he is with us.
Yeah.
And that's really easy for us to do because we want to, we think of like the holidays that they're not with us or what they didn't accomplish. But it's like, we have to, what they send back to me constantly is like, think of the times I had with you. So we cleared that space, also gave him energy. I'm getting a ton of energy right now. I bet you one of the people are online who this is for. I don't tell the names, but I do tell the stories to help other people understand.
Yeah.
Holy cow. So spirit bumps, goosebumps throughout my whole body is when energy or people come in to talk. So this couple, we talked about the positive energy of the space, positive, thinking positive of his life when he was here. And we did clear that space, felt positive, and they sold their house.
Oh, interesting.
So that, and there's one that had someone moved into the house and said that didn't feel like her yet. It just was not feeling good about it. Went and cleared her whole property, finally got down in the basement, and one corner of the basement was where the energy wasn't moving. And that was attached to her childhood, her kids' childhood. There was a divorce, and it was a icky divorce, and there's like little separation there. So this was all attached to what could have been at that time for these children. Same thing is thinking positive for as they've grown, thinking positive that the energy will reconnect. All of that is, instead of thinking of a negative, like I lost this, I don't have this, or they don't have that. So if we just just like we always do, turn our energy around and our mantras around, and we send positive energy to those people, then we'll not have that space. So when I've had to clear, it normally isn't another entity, except for the one, the one in the book, Billy, but it's not anything that you have to worry about, or it just feels like it's energy not moving.
Sure.
And if you feel like, if you lean into it, like, oh, it doesn't feel like it's you, and you almost want to lean back, do that. Trust your intuition. You're going to get the right message.
Wow. Great. I'd like to remind everyone who's in the watching the broadcast feel free to drop any comments or suggestions that Brenda might want to look at for you to start the conversation anyway. And we're here for you till about 12:30. Brenda, let's talk about your book. You published a book.
I did.
That's big.
It was.
Not everybody can say that.
No. I absolutely am totally in love with my publisher, Dr. Angela Laurie. She's out of Difference Press in Washington, D.C. And I found her on a podcast, like we all did during the pandemic. We were on podcasts. So I found her there, and she loved her program. She did a little 5-day, like, hey, would you launch a book? And her thing is that we all have a book inside of us. We just have to let it out. And I did have a lot of stories. And that's what my book is. This is the stories of how I've delivered the messages for the last 40 years. And different ways that peeps will connect with you, energetic wise, through dreams, through signs, through microwaves. I mean, they're gonna let it be known that they're in the room and they're with you. Feeling your loved one sit down on their bed, like when they leave, you feel them sit down on a bed beside you and tap your shoulder. That happens a lot, where it feels like a physical bed moving. Like it feels like that, even though they're not physical anymore, right? They're spirit, but it feels like someone sat on the bed and touched your shoulder.
Sure.
And that's a very, very common one they get. But it has all of those different stories and how you can kind of connect, the start of that, how you can connect. I've loved to share these stories. And when I do the book talk, see, I did it again.
That's okay. You did the do. It's okay. Now it's done.
when I do the book talks, when I'm out in public and talking about it, really, I try to plan me speaking for 15 minutes with audience participation being an hour and a half.
Yeah.
We usually get kicked out because it's usually a library. And we start at 6:00 and then we are kicked out by 8 because we still have people want to talk about it. There's so much interest and so many people want to share their story and want to be validated that they did in fact hear that. So once they say it out loud, also it cements that too. But to be in a room with everyone else agreeing with you, even a psychic, you don't even need a psychic medium for that. But just basically other people sharing their stories of how often we have the connection with peeps and how often they're in our lives and make it be known. I think I've talked a lot about when I was doing the book is I was very insecure. I'm an artist and I've been having shows forever, no problem. Throw paintings to the wall and it's like people are going to like it or not like it. People are going to buy it or not like it. I'm good about it. I like what I did. So I'm proud of that. The book was a whole different story. I was very nervous because it's not my regular thing to do. And I take my dog, Lizzie, and I walk every morning, and I live on a place where it's the highest point of my town of Port Washington. It's always windy. As I'm walking, I'm like going, oh my God, am I going to suck? Are people going to read it? And all these woulda, coulda, shoulda things I talk about for solar plexus and anxiety. And I would always find a feather. So a feather is laying on a sidewalk in the middle of the sidewalk, not attached to anything. The wind's blowing, the feather's not moving. So I pick up the feather, put it in my pocket, say thank you, and then I keep walking. And so the answers, all the questions I had were answered. I'm going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You're going to be, your book's going to be, people will read it. People who need to get the message will get it. My publisher also said that she was never going to publish a crappy book. So that helped as well.
Absolutely.
But the feather almost daily, I mean, really, really solidified for me, validated for me. Yes, I'm taken care of. Yes, I'm delivering it the right way I should. It's the Peep messages. So I want to make sure I'm true to that. In fact, I had someone read the book and said, well, you can embellish. I'm like, why would I need to embellish the peeps? I think they're pretty cool by themselves. So I don't need to at all embellish anything. They're pretty good about their answering the questions and being with you when you need them, especially. And that another thing, you have every reason to ask for them. I really need to hear from you. I really need to hear Lisa. I really need to hear from you, Andy. I really want you to come visit me and I want to know it's you. So make sure I know what it is. So those things can be said all the time and just be really open. And it's always going to be different things too. It's not just feathers, the birds. When I am not in my life, when I've not been really connected, sometimes so much of stuff's going on. I wasn't connected spiritually. I would be driving my car and I get dive bombed by a hawk. And I just slam my brakes. I'm like, shit. And like, okay, fine.
Message received.
I'll pay attention. And pay attention to my spiritual side, not just the things I had to do. Because I was not hearing the messages. And then too, when you're in the right space, doing the right thing. Because it feels so natural. You don't have those second guessing questions, even though with the book, it was new. When I did sit down to write, I wrote and I had the messages right away and I could figure out how they were going to look and all of that. But I love it that she says, my publisher, Angela Laurie, always says that you all have a book inside of you. And then we just let it out. So it just comes to the surface and we'll know.
Cindy mentions that she's not a big reading fan, but she would like to know if there's an Audible or an audio version that will become available at some point.
Gotcha. I did it 2-3 months ago. It's on. You go on Amazon because you should be able to see it. There's a paper, there's a Kindle, and there's an Audible.
Right.
And you would be, I think, customer number 3.
There we go. There we go. All right. Pull the trigger, Cindy.
I just did it. So you will be my 3rd Audible.
Fantastic.
We have sold, and I want to thank all of you guys. We are up to 500.
Nice.
That we've sold. So, and this is all just like word of mouth and going to small venues and talking to anywhere from like 2 to about 60 people.
Yeah.
And it's been wonderful.
That's great.
So the people that need to hear it are hearing it.
Is there in our final moments here, and again, if you want to sneak a question in before we feel free to jump on in, but in our final moments I wanted to ask you, is this something that you can turn off? Is this something that you are able, or is it, you just mentioned our dive bombing hawks, so I guess the answer to that would be no, but is this something that is sometimes you're like, okay, let's take it easy today? That's possible.
I can say that I want to sometimes, and I did when I was 13 to 17.
Yeah,
I shut it down because it scared the crap out of me, and then I really haven't shut it down since then. But they'll take it easy on me. I want to give it that. But another story. Go figure. Another story. I was writing the book and trying to get a deadline, and I was writing acknowledgments. I had done the book, and I was just doing that, running out to get my photo shoot, which everyone should do in their lifetime. That was really cool. Thank you, Stacy Katz.
There we go.
I was writing it, and there was a grandma for me for the barista. So I knew it was a grandmother, and she's in my, go tell her she's beautiful. Go tell her she's beautiful. Did I tell the story before?
No, not on this show.
There you go. And she wouldn't leave me alone. She wouldn't let me write. I'm like, fine. So I get up, and I'm like, I usually don't go, fine. I'm more than happy to do it, but sometimes it's like not convenient, right? Not in the right space. So I get up and I walk to the counter. I tell the barista, and she was tatted. Like tatted all over. Nice. She had, I think there was 3 or 4 colors here. She had piercings all over. So here's someone
traditional barista, really.
Who is? I always think that they're hiding from society a bit by being very loud, and I think that's and not believing they're beautiful, right? Yeah. So grandma is here to tell her that she's beautiful, and I said, "Hi, I'm a psychic medium. I need to tell you about your grandmother. She won't let me write. I have to come up here and tell you this." I said, she wants you to know that you're beautiful.
Amazing.
And she wants you to believe that you're beautiful. So she would not leave me alone. You need to hear this message. And she takes a couple steps backwards.
Yeah, right.
Which is what I get sometimes too. But I said, really, she really does. She just wants you to know that. So I've delivered the message, and your grandma really wants you to take that to heart, that you are beautiful. And I'm going to go back and write my book. So I did. And then 2 of the other baristas came over and asked my card. But she did not.
Interesting.
The gal did not. But grandma got her delivered. So then she left me alone a little bit. So the drive-bys, as I call them, happen usually when they will not be able to have a psychic medium close to that person they want to deliver a message to. So I think that they, so they don't do it a lot, but I do get it happening. Yeah. And I think that it's only when there's no other way that they could have a psychic medium around there. Yeah. This person would not have that. And they're taking advantage of the situation and pushy like grandma. And the hawk is my messenger. I always get that. My father was pushy too, but it's like any way to get your attention when you're out and about, like, okay, God. And I have the conversation in my head, like, now, are you sure? Come on. Really? I have to say that? Fine. So I'll walk up and I'm like, oh God. And I have no idea what they're going to do or not, but it's usually like it's 2-step back. That happens quite often, but they'll get the message. So they got the message from grandma. She got it from grandma.
The Peep see you as a relay station.
Conduit.
Yeah.
Conduit. Always been a conduit.
Here's our shot.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. That's why it's like when we have readings, I don't put any limits on it, and it's going to be whatever they want to deliver. So we let the peeps go. I sit down 15 minutes before we have a session, and I get your energy, and then I get the messages of 3 things that we have to deliver, and all of that is kind of related. It's weird how it comes around. And when I don't hit, when I'm not getting it right, it's kind of funny, but then all the way through it will come around to it. It's like, oh, that's what that meant. So that happens a lot too.
Interesting.
It's reading amnesia too. So the validation of what I say and what the peeps are telling you is something that you need to hear. And we just have to validate that is a message for you.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow. It's
Yeah.
wild, folks. There's not a lot of shows like this on the air as far as I know. And we're really excited and thrilled to bring you, Brenda, on Tuesdays at 12 o'clock, high noon.
You guys are being real quiet, by the way.
Yeah.
Are we not hearing from them?
Not a
'Cause
lot
they-
today. It was a little quiet. I think they were, but the audience stayed locked in, so they were definitely listening to what you were saying. But,
I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Absolutely. Thank you so
See
much.
you next Tuesday.
Any questions beforehand, you can reach out through the Cedarburg Library Facebook page. Obviously, reach out to Brenda. You all know that already. Although, just in case they don't, what's the best way to get a hold of you in the interweb?
Well, they can go on my Facebook page, Instagram. They can also email me, bpeterson llc@gmail.com. I think that's it.
Okay, that'll work. Fantastic. And Frank says, love it. She'll be back. Cindy says, as long as a migraine doesn't get you, you can read.
Oh my God. They're going away. I found a cure.
Fantastic.
I found a cure. Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
Big Tylenol. All right. Fantastic.
Yeah.
They're not even underwriting this show. So that's good. So thanks, everybody. We will be back here next Tuesday, and take care of yourselves.